Hello again, we're back at St. Lleurwg with Roger the Organist and Dennis behind the camera. Say hello, Dennis.
Hello, Dennis.
Thank you. And before we start today, I want to show you something my wife has made for me.
Oh.
Yes, ladies, I'm afraid I am taken. She didn't think I would say that with a straight face, but I tried. Anyway, this is a play button my wife has made because I was very excited last night when we reached a mighty 100 subscribers. So thank you for everyone who has subscribed. And if you haven't, if this is the first video you've seen, please consider subscribing to our channel and pressing the like button if you like our videos. So, what are we up to today, Roger?
Well, you've come to do a bit of tuning today, I understand.
Well, that's not quite correct. I've come to show you how to do a bit of tuning.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
Roger the Organist is going to have a lesson in tuning his organ.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I thought I'd start off with a bit of theory and talk about the two. There's two things we need to know to be able to tune an organ pipe. So I've got some organ pipes here from a different organ, and these are two principal stops or diapasons. So you're kind of your normal organ tone, and I've got two of them, and they're different lengths. So the first thing we need to know about organ pipes is that the pitch of the pipe depends on the length of it. So if I blow them, got the shorter pipe and the longer pipe. So one of the ways that we can tune an organ pipe is by changing the length of the pipe. So there are different ways of doing it. The original or the old-fashioned way is to use a tuning cone or a tuning horn, but we'll get onto that in a sec. And the more modern way is to have a tuning slide, so a bit of metal on the end of the pipe that you can use to make the pipe longer or shorter, and you knock that up and down with your tuning knife. So by making it longer, you make it a lower note. Making it shorter, you make it a higher note. The second thing we need to know about pipes, organ pipes for tuning, is that closed pipes, so pipes with a stopper in, like this one here, speak about an octave lower than an open pipe. So here we've got two pipes, two different flutes, the stopped one and an open one, and if I blow them, we can see that they're at about the same pitch, despite the stopped pipe being a lot shorter. So that leads us to another way of tuning, that if we make this pipe a bit more like a stopped pipe, we can make the pitch lower, and if we make it more like an open pipe, we can make the pitch higher. So on this open flute, you can see we've got this shade on the top of the pipe, and if we pull the shade down, it's a bit more like a closed pipe, so it speaks lower. If we pull it up, it's a bit more like an open pipe, so it speaks higher. Going back to our principal pipes, we can do the same kind of thing using the tuning cone. If we knock the pipe like this, we can flare it inwards, which makes it more like a closed pipe, so it lowers the pitch. Or we can use the other end of the tuning cone to knock it outwards, which flares it outwards, makes it more like an open pipe and more like a shorter pipe, and makes it higher. So that's how we can tune different types of pipes. I'm now going to talk about the actual process of tuning and what we're going to do and what we're going to be listening for. It's not a case that an organ tuner listens to a pipe on its own and has perfect pitch and says that's a bit sharp or a bit flat and I'm going to change it. What we're actually listening to is the interaction between different pipes. So when a pipe makes sound is waves of pressure in the air, and if we've got two pipes making sound, those waves of pressure can either interact and add up, and it's called constructive interference, make a louder noise, or those two waves can interact and cancel each other out and make a quieter noise, and that's called destructive interference. And so if the two pipes are out of tune with each other, at some points they're going to be constructively interfering, and at other points they're going to be destructively interfering, and the volume of the note that we hear is going to get louder and quieter, and that's called beating. And how far out of tune they are is going to be indicated by how quick that beating is. And so our tuning process is to try and get rid of that beating. So if I play these two pipes together, you might be able to hear some beating going on. Hopefully you can hear that. And if we adjust the tuning of one of them, the speed of the beating will change. Maybe a bit. We'll do it a bit more. So that went, I think it slowed down a lot there.
Yeah, it did.
So maybe if we adjust it a bit more.
Perfect.
And so the beating has gone away. So we can say that these two pipes are in tune with each other. And so that's what the whole process of tuning the organ is playing different pipes in combination and listening for the beating and getting them in tune. So shall we have a look in the organ and have a go?
I can't wait to get started.
Roger and I are now up on the board and we're between the great twin chests, which we can see down here. And we've taken the swirl shutters off to make a bit more room. And that's the inside of the swirl box. And so what we're going to have a look at now is we're going to start by laying out the scale on the principal rank. So this is the principal 4-foot. And then we're going to tune the rest of the organ to the principal. Down here we have a pipe which doesn't have a tuning slide. And that's our middle C, and that's our pitch pipe, which sets the pitch of the organ. So we're going to tune to that. There's lots of different ways of setting out the scale and different temperaments, but we're not going to touch on that. And today we're just going to use an app on the phone to help us get the scale set out quickly. So Dennis is going to be our man at the console for us. In the old books on organ tuning, it's actually the most experienced organ tuner gets the job of sitting at the console. Because sometimes it's the way the pipes are interacting with each other, it's quite hard to hear what's going on up here. So it's not just a case of holding keys, but it's also listening and giving advice from down at the console as well. So Dennis is down there with us. So if you can give us middle C, Dennis. And so we can look on our tuning app and it's set. It should be about the right pitch. And if we go next, Dennis, so C sharp. Tuner says there's quite which So we're gonna.
That's the one now.
Yeah. Bit more. Okay. So we're going to go through and do the whole, or we'll do a couple of octaves of the principal just on the tuner, and then we'll check them by comparing them to each other. So Roger, you've had a go at tuning some pipes?
I have indeed, yes. It was a little bit tricky at first, but I got a little bit more confident as we went on.
They've got quite tight tuning slides on this one.
Yes.
So we tuned this rank here, which is the principal. So we did that electronically, and then we listened. We played an octave apart and listened to make sure that there was no beating, and adjusted a few to get that in tune. So we've now got the principal in tune, and we're going to move on to tuning some of the other stops, and we're going to tune those by ear against the principal, listening for any beating. So we're going to start with the one at the front here, which is the open diapason. And Dennis, do you want to give us middle C? So we've got the principal is making a noise and the open diapason. Do you want to be cameraman for me, Roger? So we can find the pipe, and we need to work out what we want to do with it. So if we shade the pipe, we make it a bit more like a closed pipe, and we can see if that makes the beating go away. There we go, like that. It tells us it needs to be a bit lower, so we can move our tuning slide upwards.
Yes, it's access. I mean, like, I know what we have to do, but you've got to, I think you've got to, first of all, you've got to be pretty fit to get it. So I'm not anymore. You've got to be pretty young, slim. All the things which now I'm afraid have beaten me, but I enjoyed being up there, and you know, it's just realizing what, and of course as you say, you've got to keep away from the pipes when you're doing it, otherwise you alter the thing. And I suppose even the temperature, the body temperature is affected, isn't it?
And if you get too close.
When I think of some of the ones in St. David's, those tromba things, how on earth sometimes he's just horizontal and he's just on his back, and plus the noise of that tromba, how the heck, you know. But because you're right actually, when sometimes they come on their own, so I play the notes and I never know what was played, and he gets quite angry and he, next, I don't know what to play next. And then, I don't know what he's saying, off, so I think I take it off and he said, no, hold it, hold.
Yes, it's off.
So,
Yeah, I think you have to get to know the person you're dealing with it.
yeah, well,
then you become a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and then of course then I can hear sometimes when I know when it's right then, but not with the trombones, but with the other ones I think, all right, I know he's going to tell me now off, because I can hear the beats coming, you know.
Well, yeah, in the old books they said organ tuning takes two men and a boy. The boy to pump the bellows, and then one person at the console, and one person doing the tuning. And it was traditionally the most experienced person sat at the console maybe because they've done their years of
Done their years of
tuning and they're less flexible than they used to be.
Aloft, yeah.
But also because you can hear it slightly differently when you're not quite next to it, and so that the person at the console listening and being
I found that the console, if I move slightly, it changes.
Yeah.
It's off.
Mm.
And if you, that's how I know that when you're tuning. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Roger, we've made good progress tuning the grate. So we started with the principal, got the scale laid out, and then we tuned against the principal. We tuned the 8-foot open diapason, the 8-foot dulciana, and then the 8-foot clarabella flute. And we're coming on now to tune the 4-foot flute. One thing that's important to note is that we never tune the same pitch stop against each other. So the principal is a 4-foot, and we don't want to tune another 4-foot against it because they can interfere with each other and force themselves into tune when you're trying to tune. But then when you play them separately, they're not actually properly tuned.
Well,
So that's why we tune a 4-foot with an 8-foot, or a 2-foot with a 4-foot, or something like that. So we can't tune the flute to the principal. Also, we want to avoid tuning flutes to flutes because they don't have many harmonics in their tone. They're very pure, kind of like a sine wave, and it makes it harder to tune. Whereas a diapason or a principal has some more harmonics. So we're going to tune the 4-foot flute against the 8-foot open diapason. So we've got the harmonics, but also we've got the difference in pitch, so they're not going to fight each other. So these ones are open pipes, and they've got these metal shades on them for the tuning. So Dennis, if you can give us the next one. So I think it's... So we can find whether it needs to be sharper or flatter by shading it with our tuning knife. And if the beating slows, then we know we need to make it lower. I'm struggling to actually hear that. There we go. So we're going to open it up a bit. And the beating is slowed now, so we're getting near to tuning. When I shade it, so we've made it lower and it gets worse, so we need to make it a bit higher still. Oh, I think I went a bit too far there. Pretty much in tune.
yep.
So over to you, Roger, for the next one.
It's going to be that.
That one there.
Should we higher or?
So let's just, we can listen to the beats. That's the beat. Can you? Okay, so that's beating faster now. It's pretty good. Yeah. So what's the magic word?
Next.